Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about what if Deku had a symbiote. So in the last video, Deku, Izuku gotten, All Might's quirk, known as all, I meant One for All, and gained Black Whip, but the Black Whip, quirk is now pure white. Because of that, Izuku's, symbiote has been upgraded. So, when Izuku gone to, Class 1A, he met all of his brand new classmates, including Bakugo. Izuku was not happy about it, but he's just ignoring him. He even met, Jiro and Melissa. So, everything just like in canon happened, except for the part where Izuku, lost everything in, like, the, whole, um, quirk assessment test. And Meta actually got expelled, by the way, because, I hate Meta. So, Izuku started going home as he goes home with, Jiro and Melissa. And when Melissa starts going home, Melissa kisses Izuku goodbye, as Izuku came back home, all alone. So, let's start the video then. So, Izuku wakes up pretty early in the morning, like about, 5 in the morning, where Izuku started to started wear starts wearing his uniform while taking a bath. I meant like Izuku started taking a bath, and after that he starts wearing all of his uniform, his full uniform, and then he starts wearing his hoodie slash jacket. So Izuku basically goes downstairs as Izuku sees the note and also his breakfast. So, while he's eating, he's reading a book, and that book is Stare Tactics. So, Izuku starts going to school as he makes it there on time. Izuku's class consists of normal classes, most of them, until it's the last class, where apparently some people are well some people think that it's going to be their teacher is supposed to be some sort of like special hero, as they hear something rumbling, as they hear in the corridor, they hear this. I'm coming to the door like a normal person, as they see All Might break the door from its hinges, and maybe almost destroying the desk. As All Might says, "Hello, children, let us start our heroes class." As everybody's saying, "All Might, I can't believe All Might is going to teach us." As Izuku says, "Hey, sup?" As All Might says, "Oh, hello, young Midoriya. It's nice to see you again." As everybody is looking at Izuku as they say, "Wait, you met All Might before?" Izuku says, "Yeah, he trained me. Why? Is it that big of a deal?" As they say, "Really? That's a really big deal." So, when All Might, well, or at least All Might stops hearing all of the whispers and shit like that, as All Might says, "Alright, let us start our heroes class. But first, what's with a hero without his or her costume?" So, they get suitcases as everybody starts being happy because they got their hero costumes, except for Izuku, as everybody's asking, "Hey Izuku, why you don't have your suitcase?" As Izuku says, "Don't worry, I already have my built-in costume." As they say, "Built-in costume?" As Izuku says, "Yeah, I'll show you later." So everybody starts going to inside of the locker rooms where they're going to be changing all of their clothes. As everybody's basically outside in the in the training area. So when Izuku comes out, they say, "So where's your costume?" Izuku says, "Allow me to show you then." As Izuku starts getting covered in his symbiote, as when Izuku's finally coated, Izuku looks like this. So Everybody sees Izuku's so-called hero costume, as they say, why do you look like that? As Kaminari says, yeah, you look like a villain. Izuku says, that's supposed to be the point. As they say, why? Including All Might, as he's quite interested in why he picked this as his so-called hero costume. Izuku says, well, it's because of scare tactics. As they say, scare tactics. Izuku says, yeah, scaring your enemy makes him feel fear. The more fear, the more power I get. Izuku kind of chuckles to himself as they say, okay. Izuku says, alright, let's start already. As All Might says, oh, right. So, Izuku was paired up with, well, Jiro. As Jiro is going to be fighting with Izuku, they're going to be fighting with, Bakugo and, Melissa. So, both of them are going to be, the heroes, as Melissa is going to be preparing the bomb. So, Izuku and, Jiro are waiting as they hear this. 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, heroes, you can, start. So, Izuku and, Jiro start going into the building. So, while they're checking out the building, Jiro said to Izuku, hey, Izuku, can I ask you a question? Izuku says, what is it? Ashi says, well, are you, dating anybody by any chance? Izuku says, no. What do you want me to, what do you want to, ask me that? Ashi says, well, Izuku, can I please? As they hear, in the background, they hear, I'm coming for you! As they see, Bakugo start charging in at, Jiro. Izuku says, alright, I have no time, guess I'll be going to, Melissa. You can just distract Bakugo. As she says, what? As she basically gets pummeled to the ground by Bakugo. As Izuku starts going up to, the top floor. As Izuku sees, Melissa, as Izuku's basically in, the dark area. As in the dark area, I mean, the darker areas of, the upper floor. Because, even though you think this is probably going to be, pretty pretty obvious for people to see this gigantic creature, but Izuku's whole body is now literally liquid except for his bones. So Izuku is able to be completely silent in dark areas. So yeah, so he's completely camouflaged. So while Izuku is basically crawling all around the walls, Izuku basically goes into the wall. I'm at the wall. He starts climbing the wall. As Izuku goes on top of the ceiling, as Izuku drops down as he touches the bomb. As they hear this, the heroes win. So when Melissa sees up in the or sees on top of the bomb, they see, or at least Melissa sees, Izuku. As Izuku says, pretty easy. Izuku starts transforming back into his more humanoid state. And also, by the way, guys, if you're looking at this and you're thinking in your minds, you said that Sanguinius is basically just a mix of um well of anti-venom and carnage, but why are they separated? As that you're thinking like that, Izuku's thing over there, both carnage and anti-venom, they're both sanguineous. So yeah, the only one that Izuku thinks that that can only talk because well Carnage is basically just psychotic. He because of that well his whole like switching their whole personalities thing, he's completely cowardice. So he's always hiding inside of well Izuku's veins. But the anti-venom side is more, how do I say it, more willing to talk, I guess I can call it. So yeah, so the only one that can talk ish is the anti-venom side. So yeah, as Izuku says to well Melissa, so I won. As she says, whoa, you're completely stealthy, Izuku. Izuku says, yeah, pretty easy. So when they get back to well the watching room, they see everybody well finishing up their battles as the class ends. So when it's the weekend, they started to well how do I say it? Um going on to well dates. Most of them are. Most of the people there in this classroom, mostly his classmates, are basically dating each other except for Izuku. Until one day, when Izuku's basically well buying groceries, he sees well Jiro and Melissa talking to each other. As Melissa sees Izuku, as she says, "Hey Izuku, I didn't know that you're here." Izuku says, "What is it? I'm busy." As Melissa says, "Hey Izuku, would you want to join us?" As Jiro says, "Yeah." As Melissa says, "Come on Izuku, do you want to join or not?" As Izuku says, "Fine, just as long as it's quick." As she says, "Thanks." So yeah, so they started going to well. Wait for a second, I got my. So they start going into the mall. As Izuku says, "Why we're going here?" As Melissa says, "Well, because we're gonna have some fun." Izuku says, "But I'm busy." As she says, "Stop being a grumpy pants." As Izuku says, "Stop calling me a grumpy pants." As she says, "Okay, fine." So Jiro brings them to well the arcade, where they're going to be doing well mostly some arcade games, like for example whack-a-mole and what's that crane game where there's like several prizes inside. I guess you could just call it the crane game or something like that, or if there's an actual official name for that well type of game. Anyway, Izuku starts well playing that crane game, as Izuku wins it pretty easy. As she says, well, Jiro says, "Hey Izuku, who are you gonna give that well prize to?" Izuku says, "Here, Jiro." As Jiro says, "Thanks, Izuku." As Melissa says, "How about for me?" Izuku says, "Fine." Izuku well he got the prize pretty easily. As she says, "Thank you, Izuku." So, after that whole arcade thing, Izuku tells Jiro and well Melissa, "Alright, I'll be going now." As Melissa says, "Come on." Izuku says, "Then what is it?" As she says, "Well, I wanted to ask Izuku, can we go to your house?" As Izuku says, "Why?" As they say, "Well, it's our first time going to your house, so I thought we should." As Izuku says, "Fine, but make it quick." So, while they're going to, well, Izuku's house, they see, well, how do I say it? The neighborhood. As they say, "Why is everybody like, well, in their houses? We didn't even see one person here. In the streets, mostly." As Izuku says, "It's probably because of me. Ever since I got my, well, so called quirk, everybody's completely afraid of me or avoiding me." As they say, "Well, what do you mean by avoiding you and ge- well getting your quirk?" Ezekiel says, "Well, I was a late bloomer." As they say, wait, you're late bloomer? Izuku says, yeah, ever since I got my quirk, everybody was trying to apologize. But Izuku basically tells them this, but it wasn't enough. As they say, wasn't enough. As Izuku says, yeah, they called me names, mostly quirkless, and I hated it. When I got my quirk, one day, a a family, well, that hated quirkless people started bullying me. And when I got my quirk, well, how do I say it? I made sure that their so-called lives are pretty much hell. As they say, what do you mean by hell? Zuka says, how do I say it? Mm, I made them, well, stop coming back here. So they moved away, back to their hometown. As they say, damn. Zuka says, whatever. Welcome to my humble abode, I guess. As they say, whoa, this place looks big. Zuka says, yeah, but my father's mostly, well, at work, so I'm pretty much alone. As Joe says, that's sad. Zuka says, I don't frickin' care. So, while they're looking around his home, they see Izuku's room, which is mostly filled with books and, well, equipment. As they say, well, you have a lot of training equipment, says, well, Jiro. Izuku says, well, I mostly train ever since I got my quirk. As, well, Melissa says, what are these books for? As she looks at one of the covers, as she says, scare tactics, fighting styles, and what is this? Izuku says, ah, I mostly like, well, literature, especially ones that, well, focus on, well, psychological torture. As she says, psychological torture? Izuku says, oh, I meant, psychological horror. As they say, right. So, wait for a second, guys. So, after that whole stay, they say their goodbyes as well, but while Izuku's going back to his, well, room, Izuku hears this. Hey, Izuku. As Izuku goes back downstairs, as Izuku sees, well, Jiro still left in his house. As Izuku says, what do you want, Jiro? As Jiro hugs Izuku, which was, well, off-putting to Izuku. As Izuku says, why are you doing this? As she says, well, because you're all alone, I wanted to give you a hug. Izuku says, get off of me. As she says, no. Izuku's, well, so-called hug has been, well, a little bit longer. As Izuku says, fine. Izuku wraps his arms around, well, Jiro. As Jiro looks at Izuku's, well, eyes. As she kisses him right in the lips. Izuku says, what the heck? As she says, okay, bye. So, Izuku, after getting that kiss, Izuku says, whatever, I'm leaving. So, after Izuku locks his, well, doors, actually not locking his doors, I mean his, like, well, back door is still, like, well, unlocked. Because, well, Izuku still has a father, so he has to keep it, well, open. So, Izuku starts cooking dinner as he goes to sleep. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!